Once, there was a girl who lived with her mother in a tiny house on the outskirts of a small town. They were very poor, and sometimes they were very hungry. Often they had nothing to eat at all. One day, when the girl was out in the woods looking for mushrooms and blackberries, she met an old woman who was carrying an empty iron pot. "Take it," said the old woman, and she put the pot into the girl's hands. "Whenever you are hungry, say to it, 'Little pot, boil.' And when you've had enough, say, 'Little pot, stop.'" The girl thought it was very strange, but she took the pot home and told her mother what the old woman had said. "Put the pot on the table and say the words, and we shall see what happens," said her mother. "Little pot, boil," said the girl. And as soon as she spoke, the pot began to bubble and hiss, and steam began to rise from it. "It's filling up," gasped the girl. "It is truly a magic pot," said the mother. "Stop it before it overflows." "Little pot, stop," said the girl. The bubbling and hissing stopped at once. "What a lovely smell," she said. "That looks and smells like porridge to me," said her mother. "Bring 2 plates and 2 spoons and we'll taste it." It was the sweetest, creamiest, nicest porridge they had ever tasted. With a magic porridge pot like that, their days of being hungry were over. It did not matter how much porridge they ate, there was always more to be had when they said the magic words, "Little pot, boil." One day when the girl was out, her mother set the pot on the table and said, "Little pot, boil." The bubbling began, the steam began to rise, and the lovely smell of porridge filled the room. The sweet creamy porridge reached the top of the pot. The girl's mother opened her mouth to say the words to stop the pot, but she could not remember them. All she could think of saying was, that's not enough, that's enough, that's enough." A tiny trickle of porridge began to run down the outside of the porridge pot. That had never happened before. "Stop, stop," she cried. "I don't want any more. Stop filling up. Oh dear, oh dear." She just could not remember the right words. The pot bubbled and bubbled, and the trickle of porridge became a stream. It spread across the table and fell into a sticky mess on the floor. "Whatever shall I do?" she cried as she climbed onto a chair. "Please, please, please stop, please, pot." The pool of porridge spread to the door and outside along the street. "Stop, stop," she shouted. "Come back, porridge. Get into the pot, please, stop." The porridge took no notice. It would only stop if the right words were spoken. What were the right words? The sweet creamy porridge became like an overflowing river. It ran on through the streets, into all the houses and the dog kennels. It filled up the fish ponds and the drains. "What is happening?" cried the people in the town. They took off their shoes and they waded through the sticky mess. "It's the pot, it will not stop," cried the girl's mother. The dogs began to bark, the cats began to howl, and everyone began to shout at the porridge pot, "Stop making porridge before we all drown! Stop! Stop!" The girl was at her uncle's house at the other side of the town. She heard the noise outside and looked out the window to see what was happening. As soon as she saw the river of porridge oozing through the streets, she knew just what to do. She ran home as fast as she could through the sticky porridge, and when she came to the house, her mother was still shouting at the pot, "Stop cooking! Stop bubbling! Stop! Stop! Little pot, stop!" said the girl. Those were the magic words, and the pot did stop instantly. "I will only use the pot in future when you are here," said the girl's mother. "I don't want that to happen again." It took many days to clean up the mess because the porridge had stuck to everything. Perhaps it was not a good thing after all to have a magic porridge pot.